Well, today is a special day, a special holiday in December that I have been celebrating every single year that I've been teaching, and even before that. It's Beethoven's birthday. And if you're listening to this on the day that this episode is dropping, I'd like to wish you a happy Beethoven's birthday. So today we're going to be talking about music in honor of this great man and his great music. Specifically, we're going to talk about the 3 ways that you can use music in your classroom for some really great benefit to your students, to yourself, and how it can help you with classroom management and building relationship skills, not to mention integrating with some of your content as well. This is by far one of my favorite topics, so let's jump in. Hey friends, welcome to Enjoy Teaching Again, the podcast for teachers who love the work but need a little spark to bring the joy back. I'm your host, Elizabeth Peterson, classroom teacher, arts integration specialist, and passionate educator of over 25 years. If you're overwhelmed by behaviors, disengaged students, and long, exhausting days, you are not alone. But together, we can turn things around and you can teach with confidence and purpose again. So locate that cold coffee of yours, find your favorite pen, I know you have one, and let's dive in. It's time to get inspired and enjoy teaching again. It's not that you don't have time for professional development, it's that the PD you're asked to take wastes your time. You listen, you take notes, you picture how things will play out in your classroom, but no real improvements are happening. It's not you. It's not that you aren't trying to make a change. It's that you aren't getting inspired by your professional development. If you've lost that spark in your classroom, school-sponsored PD isn't going to help. That's why no matter how many PD days or early releases you participate in, the burnout still creeps in. But when you take the reins and search for teacher-centered PD that inspires you, everything starts to change. You'll see your students in a different light. The content you teach will start to come alive, and you'll feel like a creative teacher again. The workshops inside our vault make this happen. And the vault is open only for the month of December. So go now to theinspiredclassroom.com/PD. Inside, you'll find short, manageable workshops that will inspire you. Plus, each one has downloadable resources and certificates for PD hours. Workshops include things such as student behavior, building relationships, SEL and SEAL, creative teaching strategies, arts integration topics with music and movement, drama and visual art, and creative teacher self-care, because yes, that is a thing and you deserve it. And if you use the code DEC10 at checkout, you'll save an extra 10%. So go grab access now. The vault closes at the end of December. Go to theinspiredclassroom.com/PD. Teachers are using music more and more inside their classrooms, and I absolutely love it. In fact, in my own school, I'll walk through the halls some days and I can hear the different music coming from different classrooms, and it just makes me feel so good because music can be a very powerful learning tool for us teachers. And this right here, this is my forte, and where my arts integration journey actually began way back when I was in college. So we're talking like mid-90s, okay? Mid-90s, I was a music major at Gordon College in Wenham, Massachusetts, and instead of being a performance major, I was just a straight up music major, not even music ed major. I was an elementary ed and music major, and for my music senior project, I decided to dive deep into how I could use musical listening experiences in my own classroom. And that flourished into something that has stayed with me all my years in teaching and was the driving force behind the Inspired Classroom and all the workshops and courses and blog posts and YouTube videos and now podcasts that I create. It all started with music. So today I want to take you through the 3 ways that you can listen to music, and that goes for anybody in any circumstance, any situation, but then also how this applies to us teachers in our classrooms. So the 3 types of listening are passive, responsive, and active. In passive listening, the music is going on in the background. You're really not paying too much attention to it. In responsive listening, you're using the music to respond to it. You might tap your fingers, you might sway back and forth, you might bob your head, you might dance, you might sing along, so you're responding to the music. And with active listening, that's where your brain is active. You're truly, fully listening to all the nuances of the music. You're maybe studying the music. You're thinking about how the music makes you feel. You're understanding the music. And that type of listening, active listening, is what I based my first book on. It's called Inspired by Listening, and it is a method of integrating active listening experiences into your classroom and then connecting it with your content, especially your writing and ELA content. And as a side note, that book is part of an online mini course that I have inside the vault, which is open all of December. And if you're interested in learning more about how to bring active listening experiences into your classroom, go check that out. You can find that mini course. It comes with the book itself, and that is at theinspiredclassroom.com/PD. So let's first start talking about passive listening. Now, I've got to be honest with you. For so many years, I did not see the value in passive listening for our students in our classrooms. But that really has changed over the years. Now, with passive listening, it's kind of like, think about, you're at a restaurant and you have background music playing, right? So the restaurant is creating an atmosphere, an ambiance, if you will, for whatever they want your experience to be inside their restaurant. Well, we can do the same thing inside of our classrooms. We can carefully choose different types of music that will be able to be played in the background of our classroom to just create this wonderful atmosphere, whatever that feeling, whatever that vibe is that we're going for inside of our classroom. Now, the teachers that go through SEAL Teacher Academy with me, they learn so much about this method of bringing music into your classroom in a passive way, and that is through sound tracking. Sound tracking is when you are really carefully choosing music that will fit what the environment is that you want to bring to your students. So there's certain music that will go along with instructional time when you're actually giving instructions to your students or giving a lesson. There's music that you can play while they're doing their independent work. There's music that you can play when they're doing like silent reading time or partner work. And all of those types of music can really help to encapsulate your classroom. I liken it to just like putting a nice warm blanket over your classroom and really creating this wonderful atmosphere for whatever type of learning you want your students to be accomplishing at that time. Now, sound tracking is a simple but effective use of music in your classroom. And of course, there can be so many layers of this. So if this is something that interests you, you'll have to go to my website, theinspiredclassroom.com, and check out all the resources and blog posts that I have about sound tracking. The second way to listen to music is responsively. That means you are responding to the music. Now, I think of this in the classroom. There are going to be times when you want to, do things with your students. You want to help them to understand the water cycle, or you might have them sing songs that help them to learn their multiplication facts. With these, you're asking your students to actually respond to the music that you're bringing to them. A different way to think about this also is, and this is perfect for this time of year, if you are listening to this in December, is to have some really great holiday music or, like upbeat music that's going to get the students kind of just having fun. So there will be times when I'm doing crafts or little art projects with my students in December, and I will be playing specific music that will encourage them to sing together, to sway together. I'll even encourage if it's the type of atmosphere I'm going for, I might even encourage students to kind of get up and make some dances together. It's such an amazing relationship builder for your students. They can start to build and foster relationships with each other. It can make your classroom feel like a really great community. Responding to music together with other people is an amazing community builder. In fact, there's a quote by Bobby McFerrin, the guy who sang and recorded Don't Worry, Be Happy. He's an amazing musician, and he's done way more than just that one song. But he's got this great quote, and it says, "No art form creates community as quickly as music." And I'd have to agree. When you bring music into your classroom, whether it's responsively listening like we were just talking about, or even passive or active, as we'll talk about in just a minute, oh my gosh, it does amazing things for building your classroom's community. If you're interested in learning more about that, specifically about building relationships through music and the arts, there's a workshop inside the vault that you may be interested in. Be sure to go check it out. Okay, the third way to listen to music is something that I literally wrote the book on. It's active listening. Active listening is when your brain is active and you're really, really, I want to say, studying the music in your own way to deepen your understanding of the music, but then also using those musical experiences to connect to your curriculum. What I love about bringing active listening experiences into your classroom is that, well, first of all, it builds community because you are giving your students the opportunity to listen to a really good piece of music together. And what's so beautiful about being able to share a musical listening experience with your students is that they're able to share their ideas and their insights and their interpretations of the same piece of music. What's really truly amazing is that you can listen to one piece of music, the same one as all your classmates, and yet some people will have different interpretations. It leads to such an amazing conversation about how we all bring our own experiences to the table, and then we can talk and learn about each other's perspectives. There's so many amazing benefits to utilizing music in the classroom. When I start talking about active listening and bringing those listening experiences into the classroom, I often get a few questions. So I want to talk about a couple of these questions right now. One question is when? When do I do this? Because I have such a tight schedule and so much to do, right? So here are a couple of ideas to just get you started. I'll often share listening experiences with my students during snack time. That generally seems to be a time when we're not necessarily doing any academics. Sometimes, you might be catching up on this, that, and the other thing. But if you can set aside a week or a month of your snack time to really sit down with your students, have them bring their snacks over to the rug with you, and just listen to a piece of music together, and then start asking them some questions, like, what did you hear? What did you think of? How did this piece of music make you feel? That is a great use of your time to really get some of those conversations going. You can also think of it this way, especially if you want to start integrating these active listening experiences into your content. It lends itself, by the way, really well to integrate with your writing content. So you might choose a writing assignment or an essay assignment that you are going to be doing anyway and tie in some music that will inspire that writing piece. Maybe it's a poem, maybe it's a story, maybe it's a compare and contrast. And so what you'll do is you'll utilize the first 5 to 10 minutes of your lesson as you're instructing them on their writing assignment to give them the opportunity to listen, to talk about it, to take notes on it even, and then begin to formulate their writing plan. The next question I always get asked is, what music do I use? Well, I love this question because you're going to use music that you enjoy. Start with something you enjoy. It can have lyrics, it can be instrumental, it can be jazz, it can be classical, it can be hard rock. It can be just about anything. If you share a little bit of yourself with your students, that is such an amazing way for you to start doing one of these listening experiences with your class. And of course, another angle to take this is to start with some kind of instrumental, maybe classical music. And today's Beethoven's birthday, right? So I'm going to suggest starting with Beethoven. I have a resource inside my shop. It's called Celebrating Beethoven in the Classroom, and it has lessons and activity ideas. It's got a playlist of pieces that are by Beethoven that are perfect for the classroom. For example, start with something like For Release. It's something that so many students will recognize, they'll enjoy it, and chances are many of your students haven't actually heard the entire piano piece. So not only will it be familiar, but it will also bring a few surprises as well that you can use to discuss together. So are you excited to try and bring some music into your classroom? You can do it passively by soundtracking parts of your day. You can do it responsively if you are doing some fun things for the end of this calendar year. Choose some really great festive, upbeat music that will bring your students together. And you can do it actively by giving your students the opportunity to sit and truly listen actively with their brains so that they can have an intellectual and emotional response to the music that you guys can discuss and then use to further your content instruction. And if you're interested in learning more about how to bring music into your classroom, I want to encourage you to check out The Vault. Remember, The Vault is open all the way through the end of December, and there are some amazing workshops in there that you can take, earn professional development hours. You'll get a certificate that you can download and print and store in your files. But more importantly, you will be inspired by these amazing ideas and ways to bring music into your classroom to help with classroom management, to help build relationships and build a solid community as you continue on in your school year. Oh, and I'll say it one more time. Happy Beethoven's birthday. I hope this episode inspired you, encouraged you, or gave you a fresh idea to try. And if so, I would love for you to take a screenshot and text it to one of your teaching buddies. I'm so grateful that you landed here with me today, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave me a review over on Apple Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. This is Elizabeth Peterson reminding you to get inspired so you can be inspiring to your students and enjoy teaching again.